Today on the Hoops FERRO podcast, Giannis Antetokounmpo will be a Milwaukee Buck for a little while longer after getting a Damian Lillard-type buzzer beater of a deal done. Also, will James Harden suit up against Giannis's Bucks to kick off this season? Dame and Bradley Beal expressed their interest to be a part of the Miami Heat. Steven Adams is out for the season in Memphis before it begins. All that and more on the Hoops FERRO podcast. Let's go.
I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing.
Why build theirs when I believe I can build my own?
You've already done it, or I wouldn't be here.
I'm already the only elite sports and music journalist in the game today. My goal is simple, to be the best there's ever been. So, please don't go. Make sure you subscribe and follow the journey. It truly means everything to me. I tell stories, I talk music, I cover sports, I am culture, I am FERRO.
Having one of those all-around games. Antetokounmpo dribbling off his foot, and a turnover. James powers to the basket, blocked by Antetokounmpo! Oh, what a rejection! Bucks the other way.
Welcome to another episode of the Hoops FERRO podcast. I am yours truly, the one and only Hoops FERRO. Let's get right into it. Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo has agreed on a 3-year, $186 million contract extension. This deal includes a player option for the 2027-28 season. Giannis obviously is making this commitment after the Milwaukee Bucks went out and got Damian Lillard in a trade with the Portland Trail Blazers. Essentially, Giannis's contract now lines up with Damian Lillard's contract. It also cancels the possibility of Giannis entering free agency in 2025, which he did tease in a couple of interviews of recent. Apparently, Giannis met with Bucks general manager on Sunday. The deal has been worked out. Milwaukee and Giannis had until 11:59 to get a deal done. And while we're here, we might as well also show you a couple other NBA players that were able to get a deal done by the deadline with their respective teams. You see Jaden McDaniels being the second biggest winner of the day. He got a major $136 million 5-year deal done with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cole Anthony gets new money with Orlando. Aaron Nesmith has got a new deal with the Pacers. Denny Avdia got some more money with the Washington Wizards. Josh Green gets a 3-year, $41 million deal done with Dallas. And Onyeka Okongwu now solidified as the Atlanta Hawks center going forward with a 4-year, $62 million deal. Pretty much these are a lot of deals getting done with teams that are not expected to be great. I mean, Atlanta always has the potential to be really good. But for the most part, these are teams that have low expectations. And honestly, they just got money to give out because they got to reach that threshold from a salary cap perspective to be at least of the cap, right? But then there's Giannis and what he decided to do with the Milwaukee Bucks. To me, it's interesting, but I'm not surprised. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand this. If you are a fan of basketball, I want you to understand that to a degree, you are a pawn. And I'm saying that because Giannis recently went out and did a couple of interviews, and he flat-foot teased the possibilities of hitting free agency in 2025. Now, there is actually no financial incentive for Giannis to get a deal done today versus tomorrow. In my estimations, obviously, when I say tomorrow, I mean next year, right? Because even if Giannis had the worst injury possible, knock on wood that it doesn't happen, I would never want that to happen to the Greek Freak. Let's say Giannis tore his Achilles, which is like the worst basketball injury you can have right now, right? The Milwaukee Bucks next year would still give Giannis every cent that he wants. We just saw Kevin Durant get that done with Brooklyn a few years ago. Nobody's not paying Giannis, even if he had a crazy injury, right? Giannis could have got more money if he agreed to an extension next year. But what is Giannis doing? He's showing the Bucks a sign of good faith by letting anybody out there know, hey, the Greek Freak's going to be here. You know, any potential sponsorship or brand endorser or whomever's going to do business with the Bucks, They now know that the Greek Freak is signed. The only person that got played in this is me and you, the fans, because we believed in the potential of Giannis being a free agent, dead center in the middle of his prime in 2025, and potentially going to our favorite teams, whether it be the Lakers, the Knicks, whomever the case may be. And now that's off the table. So again, I want you to realize in sports, especially the NBA, you are a pawn oftentimes. There's too much money at stake to be leaving dollars on the table. And to be honest with you, all these dudes are trying to link and re-sign with the team that owns their bird rights. And if we're being completely honest with you, if they're really unhappy after the contract gets going, after year one of the deal, they'll just demand a trade out. So Giannis played us to a degree, acting as if though he wasn't going to re-sign until he felt like the Bucks were locked in on committing to winning. Because what really changed for Milwaukee, right? Yes, they went and traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. Yes, Damian Lillard does solve a problem for the Milwaukee Bucks, but to me, he doesn't solve all of their problems. Yes, he makes the Milwaukee Bucks a better offensive team. Yes, there is a scenario in which even if Chris Middleton goes down, the Bucks can still put up enough points in the postseason behind Giannis and Dame to get it done. And they probably couldn't do that with Drew and Giannis the last couple of years with Middleton battling with injuries, right? But now I got questions defensively on the perimeter. The Bucks are not only an older NBA team, but they also lack a lot of athletes on the perimeter. Dame's not a great defender. He's never been that. He's a great scorer, not a great defender. So, yes, bringing in Dame does solve a problem, but we have to also acknowledge in losing Drew Holiday also does create a problem. To me, I would have respected Giannis more if the Bucks would have traded Chris Middleton. Obviously, we know that they just signed him, but let's say they did a sign and trade in July, and they traded Chris Middleton. I'm just going to throw a guy out here, right? Let's say the Bucks went and traded Chris Middleton for Tyler Herro, right? To me, that's much more of a longer-term fix than going out and getting Dame for Drew. Again, what I'm saying is pretty much I understand the talent that Dame possesses, but you still got the biggest it factor on your roster. If Chris Middleton goes down, most likely the Bucks ain't winning the championship. That's it. Like, you still got the Chris Middleton elephant in the room. He barely played in the preseason. He's got the baldy now. He looks older than ever. He's in his Kobe era with the haircut. I'm just being honest and real with you guys. Trading Dame for Drew definitely solves an offensive problem, but definitely creates a new problem defensively.
Avdia looking for Beal. Finds him. Oh, no! I mean, Beal against Morton. Almost turned it over. 3 seconds left in the game. Fires a three. Missed it. Miami wins. After making 10 triples in the first half. Blazers looking for the tie. They get it on a Lillard layup to tie the game at 107. Don't foul. 3 seconds left. Lillard for Hart. It counts! And the Blazers walk off with a 110-107 win on a...
Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal both really wanted to be Miami Heat really bad. As we get ready to kick off the season, as we know, Dame's now part of the Milwaukee Bucks. Bradley Beal is now part of the Phoenix Suns. They won't let it go, though. Dame and Bradley both recently did interviews before the season to kind of discuss what happened or didn't happen for them this offseason. Let's start with Dame. He was mad at Portland. He said it was anything to go against what I would have wanted. Apparently, that's what he believed the Blazers general manager, Joe Cronin's mentality was. He said that part was irritating just based off how it was happening. I knew it wouldn't be Miami. Dame said the Blazers weren't talking to Miami, so once things started happening and he started hearing stories about all these other random teams, Dame was like, I'm probably not going to Miami, so I wasn't holding on to that one too much. And then how about Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal sounds a lot more favorable and a lot more pleasantly discussing how his time in Washington ended versus Dame in Portland. Brad was like, so my initial favorite was Miami, and so we called Miami, and Pat Riley says he'll go talk to the owner, Mickey Harrison, and figure it out. So he goes to talk to Mickey. We hear back. The Knicks, Sacramento, Brooklyn a little bit, and then it was Milwaukee, and it was one more big team. And that was kind of one of the most difficult things about every trade and every team. I respect and love every team, but a lot of them couldn't do it because the money was just so high. So it seems like Bradley Beal had just the choosing of the lifetime. He could pretty much do whatever he wanted to do. Washington was like, just go get happy, Bradley Beal. It was like, yo, go find you a new thing. Go find you something bad. Make sure she's thick, 36, 24, 36, all that great stuff. Oh, I'm lying. We in the BBL area. 42, 38. Never mind, y'all. Never mind. Anywho, it appears as though Bradley Beal just could pretty much pick anything he wanted, while Dame is like, yo, I want to go to Miami. Portland, do y'all hear me? You know what's so interesting? The irony in this is that we're talking about the same team in Miami. And literally every year, it never fails. I've been covering the NBA for years now. Every year you hear about Pat Riley in Miami being interested in a star guard. And they pretty much never get him. So if you're a Miami Heat player and you're not one of their top 1 or 2 guys, just know you're going to be incorporated in trade talks over a star guard. I heard Pat Riley the other day in an interview say, yo, I told Tyler Hero he was never being shopped. I call cap on that. I believe Miami has been shopping for a star point guard, star shooting guard for years now, but they're cheap and they're very selective and they want to win all of the deals that they're in, so they never pull the trigger. I just wonder, players don't look at Miami as a team that didn't go out and do what needed to be done to go obtain them versus being mad at the teams that they're on like Dame is. Like, Dame is pissed at Portland, but we're not talking about the other end of this, which is Miami could have went out and made some other trades that could have gotten some assets to appease what the Blazers were asking for more. And then you look at Bradley Beal's situation, he clearly was given the okay with his agent to talk to Miami. They're talking, and a deal never manifests. We understand that Miami's 1 score away. They did not get the deal done. And now, to me, coming off of their Eastern Conference Finals run, they have definitely taken 2 steps back going into this upcoming season.
Difference of 2 seconds, game clock and shot clock. Harden sizing up Horford. It's a 3. Good!
NBA season is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, and the Philadelphia 76ers are not sure if they will have their star guard, James Harden, in the lineup. According to Woj at ESPN, it is unclear if James will return to Philadelphia. Woj said the organization has taken him at his word that he's away on a personal matter. There is some question if this is sincere from Harden's end, but Philadelphia's giving him the benefit of the doubt, and the possibility now looms that the beginning of the season, which is on Thursday for Philly against Milwaukee, there won't be a James Harden. Let's keep in mind that the Sixers could fine Harden $390,000 for every game missed, which obviously is all a part of his $35.6 million salary for this season. James hadn't been at any preseason games. He did show up to camp. He did give some half-hearted practices. Actually looked pretty darn good from the video that I've seen from him at practice. Obviously, I'm not there, so I don't know how he is day to day. Harden did speak highly of Nick Nurse, the Sixers' new head coach, after letting go Doc. He did not speak highly of their general manager, Daryl Morey, who Harden has known for a significantly long time, if we're dating back to even the Houston days. Remember when Daryl Morey decided to step down in Houston? That man wrote pretty much a love letter romanticizing about his relationship with Harden. And it was almost like Daryl was like, yo, I'm picking my kids reluctantly over Harden. Daryl goes and takes the job in Philadelphia. Harden demands out of Houston, goes to Brooklyn, and then ends up in Philadelphia after demanding again. Here we are at a fork in the road. Harden clearly wants to be a Los Angeles Clipper, and the Clippers clearly don't value Harden as much as he values himself. They will not trade Terrence Mann for James Harden. So Philly's holding on to their asset as of right now. Yeah, man, I don't know. The Sixers are capable, to me, of winning any regular season game, assuming that last year's MVP, Joel Embiid, shows up this year. And with Tyrese Maxey, and I really do like the addition of Kelly Oubre, the Sixers can win a lot of games. Now, can they win the big games against the tops of the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics? My assumption is they will lose some of those matchups. I'll probably pick those teams 3 out of 4 times, right? Here's what Philly needs. They need a guy that is second fiddle to Joel Embiid in the regular season, but capable of being number 1 in the postseason. They needed Damian Lillard. Obviously, that opportunity wasn't available for the Sixers this offseason. Portland had no interest in James. Hell, we're hearing that the Houston Rockets had interest in bringing Harden back, which apparently where James is right now, spending time in Houston. The reality is, though, Houston wasn't about to let James come in and start being James of 2016 with James of 2023 skill set, right? Like, Harden apparently was trying to sell the Rockets on being one of the leading scorers in the league, and they're like, nah, we good on the nucleus that we got. They opted to not get in the bidding war of James Harden. Let's keep in mind, I think all of this comes down to James Harden last year opting into his deal when he could have opted out. Now, here's a little bit of intel. You're only going to get this with your boy FERRO. My biggest question in regards to James Harden and Daryl Morey has always been, last year when Harden opted in, was it because Harden wanted to do a solid for Daryl Morey, or was Philly doing a solid for James Harden and his boys? And what do I mean by that? James Harden took less money last offseason, and the Sixers went out and brought in 2 guys that James had played with in Houston, and PJ Tucker and Daniel House. Now, many assumed that was about James wanting to play with some of his guys that he likes. We know him and Tucker got a good relationship, right? But what if it was Philadelphia that was saying, yo, these are Daryl Morey's guys, and he wanted to bring them in, and he asked Harden to do a solid to take less money so that the Sixers could bring in 2 rotational guys. Also, what if Daryl promised Harden, I'll get you this money back on the back end the following offseason, I'll get you a new deal. You'll make that money that you gave back to us and then some next year. I don't know. My assumption is these were James's friends that he wanted to bring in, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. Whatever the case may be, we're at the point now where I don't believe James is dealing with some personal issues back in Houston, which is what he's explained to the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think he wants to come to work and be a part of Philadelphia because he wants to get traded. I mean, it's on public record. He said it. And the fact that now all of a sudden he's got some personal issues, well, if y'all would have traded me, if the Clippers had me on their roster today, I wouldn't have those same personal matters. I got things more important to my life than playing basketball for Philadelphia, not for playing basketball at all. I don't like it. I don't think it's the right approach to business. With all the money that James has made, when he's not 100% happy about every 2 years' time, he wants to go on to something else. Ever since the Oklahoma City Thunder traded him, they woke a savage up, and you can't turn that savage off. And now Harden is looking out for Harden. I ain't mad at it. I don't think James genuinely cares about being number 1 on a team winning a championship. I think he doesn't even believe he could be that. But for Harden, I think it's all about making the most money as he can, being the guy in the regular season at least, and then playing second or third fiddle to somebody else's show in the playoffs. He doesn't want that rock in the playoffs. He doesn't care enough to be that guy in the playoffs. And if you're not making him 100% happy, he's going to demand a trade away from you. That's what I've seen from James Harden throughout his career. Philadelphia's probably fed up, but the reality is James was really good for them last year. You can't just go get 20 and 12 on the open market. I mean, James he pretty much led the league in assists last year. So you got to be careful with how you treat James. You just can't trade him for anything because you need somebody to put around Joel Embiid. We're starting to hear the rumbles about him. I think he just joined Skechers, right? That's a company based in New York. You got to be careful with how you treat Joel Embiid because I can't see a world where Embiid demands out. We shall see. I don't think James is showing up for the first couple games of the season. I think he's going to try to force their hand. I do. I think he's going to really try to force the Sixers' hand here, and he's going to play hardball. And I don't know where Philadelphia's going to land. Do they just say, all right, we got to go do something and take whatever the Clippers are offering? The Clippers will let it be known. We'll take James, but we don't value him. as much as we do Terrence Mann. We're not trading him for Terrence Mann. And I don't understand that one because I do believe James makes sense for the Clippers and the Clippers only for what their owner is trying to do with the new arena coming really, really soon in Inglewood. I don't know. I don't know how the Harden one plays out. I don't think he's starting the season off in Philly playing basketball.
Dario inbounds it to Cam Johnson. They double team Cam. Nowhere to go. And he's stripped. Steven Adams keeps it alive. And that...
Let's end this one on a pretty whack story, if you ask me. The Memphis Grizzlies have announced that their center, Steven Adams, will be out for the entire year. This comes off of Adams only playing in 42 games last year while dealing with a knee injury. I remember the game that Steven got hurt in, and it was just simply him diving for a loose ball, and he never played again. I wanted to put this out in the atmosphere. Steven Adams is going through season-ending knee surgery. I'm not questioning the validity of the injury that Steven's got. I am definitely, though, questioning the timing of this announcement, and it made me think of something. So I mentioned to you guys I did go to my hometown for a playoff game. I'm always in Memphis, but I was in Memphis specifically a few months ago for a playoff game. It was Game 5, Lakers versus Grizzlies. And if you go to a game in the year, you automatically put yourself on the call list in the offseason to offer season tickets your way, right? And I remember I got a call this offseason from somebody that works with the Grizzlies about purchasing season tickets. And I joked with the guy. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy season tickets from you. You know, Ja Morant and his suspension announcement is coming down the pipeline. The guy called me right before Adam Silver announced Ja's suspension. Obviously, the guy was just trying to get ahead of it. So he's calling as many people as possible to try to sell people on season tickets to get them locked in on the purchase before the NBA announced that Ja will be suspended. Now, I can't obviously confirm without a shadow of a doubt that this one is similar in a lot of ways, but I don't think it's a coincidence that literally right before the season starts, meaning pretty much anybody out there that was going to buy season tickets for the Grizzlies this year, if they were going to make that purchase, they've already done so by now. I think it's nasty and disgusting that out of nowhere, right before the season begins, we get the announcement that Steven is out for the entire year. Like, think about it. Like, this is an injury that he's been dealing with since last year, midway through. You're telling me the day before the season starts, you make the announcement now that he's out for the season? Like, this dude's not out indefinitely. Y'all already are letting us know that he's out for the season, which means he probably knew for a long time that he was going to need season-ending surgery. He had a whole offseason to rehab and see where his body was at. That's nasty business. And I'm going to tell Memphis this, and I'm going to warn the Grizzlies, because I might pick the Grizzlies to come out of the West. You shall see tomorrow when I unveil my picks for the 2024 season. I'm going to tell Memphis this. This is a warning. That's bad business. And bad business will catch up to you somehow. You got to treat your fans better than that. That ain't it. That's lying. Steven Adams, I know, is not the guy that's going to go out there and average 20 and 10 for Memphis, but he is a recognizable face, and he does have a large fan base in Memphis. The Grizzlies like him. Big, tough guy, lovable dude. I told y'all last year that I didn't think Steven Adams would ever play another game in Memphis after we heard that it was Steven that called out Ja Morant before the Denver Nuggets game, and then Ja goes out after the game and gets caught on IG Live with the weapon. I said Steven would never play another game in Memphis, but I always assumed it to be because of a trade. Obviously, I had no idea that this knee injury was going to linger. And again, get well soon, Steven Adams. I'm not in no way trying to say that your injury is not legit. I'm sure it is. Nobody wants to go under that knife more times than they got to. But what I am calling Memphis and Steven Adams for is the timing of the announcement of this injury. Y'all definitely played that so that more people could purchase season tickets under the assumption that the Grizzlies would have everybody but Ja. And then when Ja gets back, a full slate of guys. You were definitely trying not to let season ticket holders or potential season ticket holders know that Steven Adams wouldn't be around before they made that purchase. That's nasty business. That is definitely nasty business. And I'll be honest with you, it's got me reconsidering my pick. I was leaning towards picking the Grizzlies to come out of the West, even with the Ja suspension. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hoops FERRO podcast. This is yours truly. I'm dealing with some voice issues. You can maybe hear it in my throat. I'm going to have to get that situated because we're close to the new calendar year. You guys are going to see a brand new highlight from FERRO in like 24 hours as we kick the season off in Denver, Colorado with the Lakers there to try to get them some get back. I want to thank you guys so much for the time, love, and support. It's what your boy will never take for granted. I'm out.